to a new season of Squib Kick Radio. That is episode 87, going into season 4 with the conclusion of the 2021 NFL Draft. We are back. I am joined here by both, as usual, Riley Pollock and Harry Burton. How's 2021 been treating you boys?
I've been doing all right. Still adding a little CFL content to our socials and our page in general. So that's been fun. It's been a blast to talk strictly CFL. I survived COVID, so I'm a survivor. And now I'm looking forward to the summer and just sitting out on my front lawn all year while we're not allowed to do anything. Harry?
Thanks, Rawls. I'm doing great. Happy to be alive, and I'll leave it at
that. Nice, yeah.
Always so well spoken when we ask him how he's doing.
Yeah, summer is slowly approaching. Shout out Rawls for kicking the COVID. It's nice to see that you came out of that doing well. Basically, we have a special post-draft edition for you guys today. Just want to take some time, go into a bit of what happened. There is some craziness going on in the NFL, of course, mainly to do with Aaron Rodgers. So we'll probably talk about that a little bit, and then just get into some of the winners and losers of the draft, how we thought our teams did, and any kind of fantasy relevance that's now appeared since the draft over the weekend. So let's just go right into some of our biggest surprises. And Riley, we'll start with you on this one.
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise is how far Justin Fields fell. In my personal rankings, I think he was the second best quarterback available. And he went as QB4. The Bears traded up to get him. And I really thought Denver should have taken him at 9. I mean, you're putting all your eggs in Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater basket when a possible elite quarterback is sitting there at 9 for you. I just don't know about going for a corner, but they do have a defensive head coach, so I guess it makes sense. Not really, but yeah, Fields falling to 11. And then I have another one, Bill Belichick getting his Tom Brady body 2.0 in Mac Jones, as their pictures side by side kind of look similar. Mac Jones goes to the evil empire at 15, and Belichick's got his new 6-time Super Bowl champion. So those were what surprised me from the first round the most, boys. What about you, Eli?
Definitely the Bears trading up to get Fields, I think, was a pretty big surprise. They saw an opportunity to, do the right thing when it comes to the quarterback position. They've been taking endless heat after not drafting Mahomes, as everyone knows. So they saw an opportunity to get, again, and I agree with you, Riley, the second best quarterback in the draft. And so they traded up to get Fields, and I think this is going to be an instant boost to Allen Robinson.
Yeah,
his fantasy value. I mean, I think they got a good quarterback. And then my other big surprise was just what was going on with Aaron Rodgers. Pretty much as the draft was kicking off, pretty much an hour before, he kind of just lit up the league.
Yeah, he certainly did. It was. We knew there was a little bit of discrepancy, but that was mostly at the start of the offseason when there was some rumors that Green Bay was going to trade him, and then they didn't. And I don't know, I kind of felt like it had blown over. It seemed like he was just going to report and, play for the only team he's ever known. But now it seems like there's some reports that if he doesn't get traded, he might retire. San Fran apparently offered a big package for him, including the 3rd overall pick, and Green Bay said no. There's also reports that he's going to get offered the full-time Jeopardy job, but apparently they were very impressed with how he hosted the show. So he's got options.
Yep.
One of them is sitting out. Another is retiring, or Green Bay can try and move him. But from all reports from them so far, it doesn't sound like they want to do that at all.
That's super surprising.
They lose so much in dead cap if he gets traded. Like, there's literally no benefit to it.
Well, you'd think if they got San Fran's pick and could start looking towards the future instead
Fair.
of coming away with absolutely nothing if he does retire. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess there's no cap benefit to it, but there is pick and player benefits still.
Future benefits, but questionable.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Harry, what was your biggest surprise from the draft?
Mine was the Jags taking Travis Etienne with the 25th overall pick. I mean, he's a good running back, but I just feel like there is so much more need on that team. Like, what about James Robinson? Like, was he not enough last year for the Jags organization to consider him a number one RB? Or
Well, I think Urban Meyer came out pretty much right after the draft and he said instantly that Etienne's going to be their third down back.
so they get.
But like still that turns another NFL team into a committee. So for fantasy relevance, James Robinson loses a little bit there because he was basically the every down back last year for the Jags.
Yeah, and that was the big upside with him. I still think he's going to be pretty solid. I also think the addition of Trevor Lawrence is going to have an impact on that as well. But I mean, he's an early back. He was pretty much Clemson's workhorse. So, give him a bit of a break at the beginning of his NFL career, get him into that third down back. He's a great receiving back as well. But yeah, I don't think it's anything as a knock to Robinson there, but
I just think there was bigger needs to be addressed than running back, and they had such a prime position in the first round to just get whatever needs they needed filled, and we'll see how it plays out. But to me, that was a big surprise.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. I like all of those boys.
There were some. It wasn't as clear cut as I would have thought in terms of winners and losers of the draft. I think most teams did actually fairly well. They all filled some positions that needed addressing, and there was a lot of really high caliber players this year. But in terms of your winners and losers, Harry, what do you sort of think in terms of who got away with winning and who lost?
It may seem a little counterintuitive, but my first winner is the Jags, simply because they have Trevor Lawrence, a generational quarterback that almost never comes to your team in the draft. So it's hard for them not to be a winner when they've got the new face of the franchise for the next 10 to 15 years.
I agree.
Yep.
But I also think the Dolphins. The Dolphins went out, made some trades, moved up in the draft, and got some huge new players coming in. I really, really just think the Packers and the Jets are the losers. Packers for the obvious reason, as we kind of talked about, how they really didn't get Rodgers any more help until, what was it, the fourth or the third round or the fourth round?
Yeah, I think it was the third.
And then the Jets being the Jets, great. They got a new quarterback, but come on, they
got Sam Darnold 2.0.
Exactly, like that. They didn't do anything spectacular in my mind. I don't know why they didn't just keep Darnold and give the guy some more help on the line, maybe some more targets. Like it makes no sense to me, but it's the Jets.
Yeah, like I don't know why you take Zach Wilson there when I think Lance and Fields are better options. But I guess we'll have to see. 100%. But yeah, it does feel like the Jets just being the Jets.
Yeah, definitely. Riley, your Dirty Birds did some work. I think they're definitely one of your winners.
Yeah, Atlanta is a winner for me. I think you talk about a generational talent QB. There is a lot of talk about Kyle Pitts being a unicorn at the tight end position. 6'4", huge wingspan, just an absolute beast. I don't know who you're going to use to cover him. I mean, he's going to out-battle any corner. He's going to outrun any safety. I think he ran a 4.46 or something like that. Just disgusting. So the Falcons took the best player on the board, and it was a great play for them. They filled needs. I'll talk about this a little later with the Falcons, but they filled needs that they had. And yeah, big fan. I also think the Browns did a very good job of drafting. They picked up Greg Newsome II at corner, and they traded up to get Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He's like a hybrid kind of like safety linebacker. He could play in the nickel if he needed to, and he just flies all around the field and makes big plays. He was, I thought he was going to go in the first round, so the fact that the Browns got to trade up for him and pick him up, I think they did a very good job. And this is kind of a prove-it year for Baker. I know he had a good year last year and, controlled the ball. Their offense was good. I think they make their secondary probably a top 5 secondary in the league with that Newsome pick. So it's I think the Browns are going to be fighting for tops in their division this year. That's a good football team. Yeah, the Browns did well, and they will. I think they'll definitely be competing. I was kind of saying that at the end of last year. But your Falcons are alls they made the good choice. There's lots of speculation on maybe grabbing a quarterback, but I think it was ultimately the right call. Matty Ice definitely has some years left in him, and that offense just continues to get better. Yeah, I mean, they have no excuse this year. They've changed the entire coaching staff. They've added Kyle Pitts so that the offense is. There's no weakness offensively, maybe at running back, but I'm fine with Mike Davis back there. It's put up or shut up this year for that aging core. They probably have 1 or 2 runs left in them, and if they can't get it done this year, I'd look to draft a QB next year and get rid of Julio. Yep. I think that would probably be the right course of action. Now, all of my winners and losers are actually very similar to all of your guys'. Falcons, of course, getting that generational talent. My only really concern with Pitts is when he's going to have to line up and block, but they probably won't even use him that much. They'll probably just use Hurst to block. Yeah, they'll use Hurst to block. But big win for the Falcons. The Jaguars, of course, getting Trevor Lawrence. I mean, that's a massive win in and of itself. And then the Bears. I think being able to trade up and put yourself in a position where you can get Fields is I think one of the biggest wins of the draft for sure. Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. The Bears, he might already be the best quarterback they've ever had. Yeah, he's gonna be good. And then losers, the Texans, they didn't do much. Took a quarterback who's not renowned by any means, but they addressed that. Overall, just I felt not a great draft for the Texans, and then the Packers with the news around Aaron Rodgers, and then continuing not to give him any help, I think was a big loss, and it'll be interesting to see how that impacts the team moving forward in the offseason. Yeah, would have to agree with you. The Texans continue to suck. Yeah, definitely. Okay, Harry, talk to me about your Raiders. How do you think your Raiders did?
Well, after day one, there was no Raiders fans that were happy with their pick because, again, the Raiders, just like the Jets, being the classic Raiders, and not taking the best overall player, instead going for a guy that most people had in the mid-second round. So disappointed to see they didn't just address the huge issue of defense right up front. But then day two, they came out firing, and they stole in what most people had assumed was the number one safety in Trevon Moehrig. He dropped because apparently there's some injury worry about him, but that wasn't enough for the Raiders not to just move up and snag him. So I'm excited. He should be a day one starter, but if he can stay healthy, so we'll see. And then in the third round, Malcolm Koontz and Divine Diablo, I thought were both great pickups. Koontz as a linebacker and Diablo as sort of like a linebacker safety who will probably just really help on their defense in a lot of different schemes. So we'll see. It's the Raiders being the Raiders. I felt better after the second day watching the second and third round. So we'll see. I guess the Raiders did need an offensive lineman, but come on. They could have grabbed somebody in the second or traded up. I don't know. I just feel like he would have been there
in their second round pick.
Yeah, but then
Still.
Morig wouldn't have been.
Like-
So it's like,
Yeah,
maybe
true.
I don't know how they could have
Yeah.
expected him to drop that much, but maybe they just took a gamble and it paid off. So, ugh, I don't know. I don't feel awful, but I
Yeah.
definitely don't feel great. We'll say that.
They did
Yeah.
need depth on defense.
In a
and they
big
did
way.
they did do that.
And the lineman, drafting an O-lineman's never a glamorous, sexy pick, but it's something that's needed. So
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Again, just high hopes for the season, but I'm ready for my hopes to be crushed. So we'll see how it plays out.
yep, ready to be hurt again. The Seahawks, they of course did not have a first-round pick after putting it in a package together for Jamal Adams. But what they did grab is they grabbed pretty much their third receiver. He's going to help out with kick returns, which is something they needed. I didn't personally see much about Dwayne Eskridge, but fills a bit of the need for the team. We did grab an O-line in the 6th, but he was projected to go in either the first or second round, is some of the things I was reading. Massive human. His name is Stone Forsyth. So crazy name. He's 6'8", 310 pounds. So he's only going to get bigger in the NFL. Hopefully he can be an anchor on that O-line that desperately needs it. So I'm glad we grabbed an O-lineman. And then out of Oklahoma, they grabbed Trey Brown. Decent corner. He's not your prototypical really tall, lanky corner that Pete Carroll likes, but he's quick. He can also help with the kick return game and special teams. And they were kind of picked apart in their secondary last couple of years, so I like taking him in. Oh geez, what round was it? I think it was the 3rd round. So I don't hate the draft by Seattle. They didn't, shatter my mind or anything like that. But I think I'm all around. I think it's a decent draft for not having a first round pick.
Yeah, they need that O-line help, and they sound like the O-lineman they took could play 2 positions. He's so big.
Yeah.
6'8". That's a big dude. But the Seahawks, they're in tough in that division this year. That is going to be an absolute bloodbath of a division.
Yeah, it definitely will be. And then Rawls.
Yeah, my Falcons. Oof. Yeah, like I mentioned, generational tight end in Kyle Pitts. I pretty stoked for that offense. They just got to get it done now. I've been saying it for the past few off seasons. They have the weapons. It's just execution, play calling. Got to get it done. There's no excuse this year. They picked up a ball hawking safety in Richie Grant from UCF. Pretty excited about him. Ball follows him around the field. Filled some holes at safety for sure. Filled some holes at O-line with the nice pick of Jalen Mayfield out of Michigan. And they grabbed a couple corners as well. And that's really, really where the Falcons have struggled the past 2 years, is in coverage. So hopefully they can help out Tyrell Jr. And we'll see. I'm not sure that they're day one starters, but I'm giving the Falcons an A draft grade because I think they filled positions of need and grabbed the best player available at that 4 spot.
Yep, definitely. Good draft for the Falcons. They pretty much addressed, well, I don't think tight end was a massive need, but they grabbed the best guy available and then worked on their defense. Now, in terms of fantasy value and sort of how this is shaken down post-draft, who do we think are the rookies to target in fantasy this year?
I think Kyle Pitts, just because the tight end position is so useless. He's probably like tight end 4 automatically. I mean, you got Kittle, you've got Kelsey and Waller, and then it's wide open. And the way they're talking about Pitts, this kid could be right there with with the Wallers of the world after his first year. So I think if you're looking tight end, which I think most people should, because it can really be a make or break, especially if you get Kelsey in the 2nd round, Harry Burton. It's a big position. If you can get 8 to 10 points out of your tight end consistently, it's better than what most people can say in most fantasy leagues.
Yeah, I
Totally
agree.
agree.
He's going to be an interesting prospect for fantasy tight ends. Hopefully, he can add himself to that list of limited elite talent, I should say.
Yeah, we're all hoping.
Yep. Harry, who's going to be your standout rookie this year?
I think it's got to be Najee Harris on Pittsburgh. James Conner's gone. James Conner, I don't think is the most skilled running back out there, but just look at James Conner, look at Le'Veon Bell, what they were able to do in Pittsburgh. I just think it's going to be exciting. He's going to be an instant starter on the team, so I'm just ready to watch him blow up.
And possibly like every down back.
Yeah. We'll see.
Those Alabama
out of
running
the gates.
backs are workhorse backs. You kind of know what you're drafting there.
Yeah. Eli, where are you going?
I had Najee Harris as well. I think he's instantly like a top 12, 15 ranked
Yeah.
fantasy back, like instant
High end
value.
RB2.
Yeah, very high end RB2. So I think that's going to be one. He's going to be probably the first rookie gone in my opinion. Then I'm also going to have Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields could have a really good rookie season if he goes and gets the starting job. So of course there's always now Andy Dalton, who he's going to be competing with in camp. The Bears told Andy that he would be their starting quarterback, so that's going to be
And
a
Nick
battle,
Foles is still there with a bunch of money guaranteed.
I mean, yeah, that's true. But I think if Justin Fields can get the job early, I think he's going to be a fantasy guy you're going to want. And then also Jamar Chase with Cincinnati. I mean, he's got instant chemistry with Joe Burrow. Those two lit it up in 2019 with LSU. So I think that's someone you're going to want to target as well from the receiver position. Again, just a monster of a receiver, huge body, can run all the routes. So I think he's going to do well also.
I want to add one more, and that's Waddle in Miami. He's played with Tua before. They've got pretty good depth at the receiver position, but the fantasy expert that I get on my radio shows on Saturday was like, he might have higher value than Chase just because of the receiving core with the Bengals, how bad their O-line is. Waddle could, come right in, get that chemistry with Tua, and have some sort of fantasy relevance. I'd be a little hesitant on him, but I'm picking him up in the late rounds probably.
For sure.
I forgot
is,
about the chemistry there
add.
with Tua. That's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting to see both him and Chase and how the two can reunite their college flames. We'll see.
Yeah. There was a lot of pairing up going on, hey? There's Tua and Waddle, there's Etienne and Lawrence, there was a few other ones too that I just can't remember right now, but matching players up with their former college quarterback seems to have been a trend this year.
Yeah, which I thought was pretty cool. Definitely something you don't see very often. Now, in terms of fantasy rookie busts, you both have the same person, so you might as well both chime in on this together.
Yeah, I just think it's Etienne just because of how good Robinson was last year. I would take him maybe as a handcuff in the later rounds, but I'm not taking him as my RB2 by any means.
Yeah, totally agree. We were talking about it in the pregame show. He's going to be apparently just strictly a third down back, and I don't know. He's got the chemistry there with Lawrence, but James Robinson is just such a stud. It's a shame to see someone come in and take some of his thunder away. I would agree. I would not feel confident having him as an RB2. Even in some weeks starting him as a flex, I still wouldn't be too stoked on that. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he comes out and he is just a passing game monster with Lawrence, but sad to see it. Robinson deserves that number one solidified spot, especially after last year. But we'll see.
Great.
Yeah. Where are you going, Eli?
Definitely being a third round or a third down back is going to have its fantasy hit. And then mine's going to be Chuba Hubbard. He had a great college career, put up insane amount of yards. Going to the Panthers, I mean, I don't know. I just think he's going to get lost in the system here initially. So I don't really see anything coming.
He has struggled a little bit last year running between the tackles too.
Yeah.
They switched up the O coordinators going into his final year at Oklahoma State and didn't quite have the numbers he had from the year before. He's more of a outside the tackles kind of runner, like a scat back almost, and probably better served in the passing game. But even there, he's not that great. Like, I just don't see his value going into the NFL.
Yeah. So I think it'll be a tough start, but you never know.
I'm sorry to everyone in Sherwood Park listening and Canadians. I hope he does well. You always want to cheer on Canadians, especially at skilled positions, but like, I just don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And that's pretty much all we have for a bit of a draft recap.
I just have a question of the week before we head out. What is the outcome of the Aaron Rodgers situation by the time it comes to a head? Eli, let's start with you.
I think they'll trade him.
Yeah.
Yep, I think so.
That's where you're going.
I think Derek Carr becomes the new Packers quarterback, while Aaron Rodgers joins the Chaboys in Vegas and becomes the new Vegas stud.
Nice. I'm going to say that it all gets sorted out and he finishes his career as a Packer.
I hope not, boo.
Ooh, interesting.
Yep. That's where I'm going.
That's a good question.
But, yeah. Great show, boys.
Yep.
Good to be back.
It's good to be back. We're going to have, again, steady flow of Riley's CFL episodes around the CFL. So stay tuned for those.
Yeah, big one. Big one coming.
Yeah, we'll be back again in a couple months once we get closer to the season.
Fantasy football, boys. Here it comes.
Exactly. But as always, thank you for listening. Make sure you check us out on the social medias at Squib Kick Radio, and enjoy your summer, everyone. We'll talk to you closer to the fall.
I got you stuck off the realness. Think not, this shit's too hot. Too hot. Too hot. Rock you in your face. Dab your brain with your nose bone. I'm a vampire walking on the surface of the sun.